I told you the other day that Justin Trudeau is refusing to move into 24 Sussex Drive until he gets millions of dollars in renovations paid for by taxpayers. Trudeau's just refusing. He'll stay in a guest house at Reno Hall, the Governor General's building, until the Prime Minister's residence is brought up to Trudeau's high standards, with a $10 million facelift. The young prince must be indulged. I told you that before, but I didn't know the half of it. See, the Liberals back in power awakens a zombie army of lobbyists and schemers and scammers and bureaucrats, everyone looking to get their share of the loot. It started even before Trudeau won the election. We saw the Liberal campaign co-chair, Dan Gagnier, selling advice to clients on the side about how to lobby the Liberals. Now it's just in full gallop. The bureaucrats and scammers in Ottawa have come up with proposals not just for a $10 million renovation of 24 Sussex Drive, but a $150 million rebuild to add a working area. $150 million? That is more than Bill Gates' house costs. But why not? Trudeau's a rich trust fund kid who never had to work a day in his life. He deserves it. Stories demanding renovation are everywhere. Here's the National Post demanding repairs right away. And here's the Wall Street Journal, of all places, saying that the house is positively uninhabitable. It's an embarrassment that no G7 leader should set foot in, and that it was all full of cats, like some gross reality show about hoarders, just a gross, squalid place. What a lie. I've been there. It's gorgeous. It's a heritage building. I'm sure it could use a touch-up. Of course it could. Maybe even $10 million worth, though something tells me there are a lot of lobbying and bureaucracy fees built into that. Do you think if Stephen Harper had spent $1 renovating the place, that the National Post and the CBC and the Wall Street Journal wouldn't be calling him out on it? But you know what? According to Justin Trudeau himself, there are dozens of Indian reserves in Canada that don't have clean drinking water. And Trudeau said this was his top priority. And yet Trudeau and his fanboys in the press gallery have seized on renovating the boy prince's new house as the #1 government infrastructure priority. I mean, it's not even something that they will do one day. This must be done first before any water on any Indian reserve. It's bizarre. I mean, could they be more transparent? These media stenographers and cheerleaders, in their attempt to be hired by Trudeau as his press secretaries. It's just so transparent to me. Or perhaps maybe to have the $10 or $100 million contract themselves. Here, let me tell you what I mean. Here's the Wall Street Journal. Let me quote from it. "It shouldn't be a place where you are embarrassed to have the group of 7 leaders over for dinner," said Michael Kilpatrick, an Ottawa-based architect and interior designer, unquote. Gee, I wonder if Michael Kilpatrick wants to bid on the job for the renos. Do you know what's going on here? The Liberal Party and all of its hangers-on is reasserting itself. Big spending, luxury, treating public money as their own private money, contracts for friends, insider deals. Started with Dan Gagnier in the campaign. Trudeau has now signaled that it is back big time. So much for the middle-class Prime Minister Harper, leading a modest life. Do you doubt that Trudeau will order new jet planes like Air Force One? It's like Talleyrand said of the Bourbon dynasty, they've learned nothing and forgotten nothing. They're back. It will be short months before we look back on Stephen Harper and remember what we've forgotten over 9 years, that this past 9 years of modest government has been an aberration, an interruption in what was a steady stream of history of advantage taking by Ottawa insiders. We will soon laugh that a Harper cabinet minister, Bev Oda, was fired over a $16 glass of orange juice from a hotel minibar. We will soon laugh that the greatest scandal in 9 years of Harper was that a wealthy staffer personally paid $90,000 to the government to cover questionable expenses of a senator, travel expenses, that the police investigated the paying back part of 90 grand as some sort of crime. We're going to laugh as Trudeau spends $10, $100, $150 million on his personal White House. I've often said that Stephen Harper did many good things, but the best things were the things he did not do. The plans and schemes and laws and appointments that never got done on his watch. As Sherlock Holmes would say, the dogs that didn't bark. I predict it won't be long before we miss old Stephen Harper. We miss the fact that he had no corruption of the order of the ad scams that are being schemed up now, as we are reminded just how corrupt and arrogant the Liberal Party always was, is, and always will be. For TheRebel.Media, I'm Ezra Levant.